so today one of our longtime clients brought in his new to him 2011 Suburban. He recently purchased it. It has over 200,000 miles and it has a few issues. That's to be expected. First issue we're trying to figure out is the engine is shaking. It's pretty violent, it disturbs his driving, it's clearly a pretty bad misfire. Second issue is his transmission. When he puts it into gear, basically clunks pretty hard, both drive and reverse. So we're checking the transmission fluid, we're checking the engine fluid, we're checking all the systems, we're using the computer, we're using visual checks, we're trying to diagnose what the issue is. So first thing, what we saw in the fluid was pretty pink, but the level was very, very high. So somebody's clearly trying to mask and hide a problem that is existing. As we connect the computer, we can dig in a little bit deeper. What the computer shows us is actually a very, very bad thing. Somebody purposely covered up the check engine light itself. So the computer showing us that there's 3 codes that should be throwing the check engine light, but it's not illuminated. Somebody purposely covered it up. So not only they put extra brand new fluid in the transmission, they also went pretty far as to cover up the light that illuminates the check engine. As we dig a little deeper on the computer, we find a few small codes, nothing really major pertaining to the transmission or the engine. There was a evap leak and an engine misfire, which we're going to investigate further. So the computer has been showing us misfire on cylinder number 5. All the other cylinders are firing pretty well. 5 is the one that's misfiring literally every single cycle. So what we're doing is we're taking off the spark plug, we're taking off the coil pack, we're examining everything, making sure it's connected. And we're going to do this one trick that I learned is we swap the coil packs from one cylinder to another to see if the misfire follows the coil pack. We do the same thing with a spark plug, and then thirdly we do the same thing with a spark plug wire. All 3 of those actions basically led to nothing because the misfire stayed on cylinder 5. So our deduction was that the next step is to try to check the injector in that cylinder. We used the computer to basically disable different injectors, and the only one that did not make any change in the way the engine ran was injector number 5. So we're going to order a new GM injector, change it and see if that fixes the problem. In addition, we found that a previous mechanic that worked on the truck did not tighten a clamp that basically allows engine to suck in air past the MAF. Basically an unmetered amount of air going in the engine, which could be the cause of our air leak. After that, we examined the body and the underbody of the machine. We found a badly damaged ball joint, but otherwise the car looked pretty decent. There were no major leaks, there was no damage, no excessive rust. Overall, salvageable vehicle. We're going to do a little bit of work to it and bring it back to decent running condition. Hopefully it's going to serve our client a few more years and provide him with safe transportation. See, the ball joint is very important to change because what can happen is you hit a pothole and then the ball joint breaks and you lose all control, might get into an accident, a very unsafe situation. We check all the wheel bearings, we check looseness in the steering, make sure nothing is really overly loose and dangerous. We have a plan, we ordered the parts, and we're waiting for our client to come back. See you next time, guys. This was Alex from Beast Cars NJ.